Thank you, Sai Ganesh, for that wonderful talk, and it's wonderful to have you here. Welcome, one and all, to our celebration of Diwali, and my name is Murali. What we'll be doing is, I will narrate a story, and the stories are meant to reach the heart. There's a lot of magical things that happen in the story, so suspend your logic, suspend your disbelief, and allow your heart to open, because hidden behind all the magic and the mayhem is a way of perceiving the truth that is inaccessible to the head. And that is why traditionally in India, stories were always told with music. They were not separate, but they were interspersed. They would come and go because it's all a way to awaken the heart to something that would not yield to a linear way of thinking. And the dance that you are going to see today, you're going to see a couple, or also pay attention to the expressions and the movements and how it melts with the story, and especially with the song that's accompanying it. Okay? So with that, let's begin. All good stories worth their salt begin in the same way. A long, long time ago, there lived a demon. His name was Ravana. Now, Ravana was a very evil man, and he was also very strong. He was so strong that he could lift an entire mountain with his bare arms. Now, demons generally are very fierce-looking people. They're not the kind of people that you want to take with you to a party, unless it's a Halloween party, in which case it's perfectly fine to take a demon with you. But even by the standards of a demon, Ravana was particularly fierce-looking. You know why? Because he had 10 heads. Imagine that, having 10 heads. And each head, each face, had 2 large red eyes. And he had long, razor-like teeth that hung down from his mouth over protruding lower lips. Now, when you have 10 heads, the rule is that you have to have 20 arms. Otherwise, things don't work well. That's how the brain is built. So Ravana had 20 long, powerful arms, and he was a master of all magic. There was no piece of magic, wizardry, sorcery, spells, incantations, or hexes that he did not know. And there were many that he knew that nobody else knew. And so in each of his arms, he held a powerful weapon, each arm holding a more powerful magical weapon than the other one. And he had amassed an indomitable army of other demons who were vicious and fiendish, and they loved to terrorize and torment people. They lived in dark forests and would come out only in the middle of the night, and they would invade villages and cities, and they took great pleasure in killing especially kind people. And they would like to torment the old and the infirm and the weak. The hearts of all men grew dark with fear. And just when it was the darkest, they didn't know what to do. Ravana and his hordes were so powerful. They committed heinous atrocities on all people. They didn't know what to do, so they looked skyward and called to the spirit beyond all creation, the great god Vishnu. They looked skyward and said, "Oh Lord Vishnu, you are infinitely powerful. Your compassion and love are boundless. Why are you letting us be tormented and tortured by this scourge of evil? Will you not eliminate it from this earth? Will you not come down?" And as this cry of anguish went up from earth, God responded. How did he respond? It says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge." And what that means is the Lord has promised that when the evil goes out of balance and vice is on the ascendant, he will recreate himself through the consciousness that's spread out in every atom of creation. It coalesces together to form the consciousness of God, and he walks among us in flesh and blood. And so it was that the Supreme Spirit Vishnu incarnated on this earth he was born in the great kingdom of Ayodhya as Prince Rama. Rama was brave and Rama was powerful. Rama had a great bow which was so mighty that it was said that only he could wield the bow. Now, so indomitable was Rama's will and so mighty was the bow that when he launched an arrow from that bow towards an evil man, it didn't matter where the man ran. He could climb up to the top of a mountain, jump into the ocean, hide in the forests, but guided by Rama's will, the arrow would find him and eliminate him. Rama was also compassionate. Rama was also kind, especially towards people that were good and loving and kind themselves. But when faced with evil, he was merciless. It was said that there was so much love in Rama's presence that people's hearts forgot its fear and they felt that everything would be all right. The entire kingdom of Ayodhya, starting with Rama's own father, could not wait for Rama to ascend the throne and become the king and eliminate evil from the earth. It was as if the entire kingdom was singing, "Victory to Rama, victory to God, Shri Ram, Jai Ram." City of Ayodhya was rejoicing at the imminent ascension of Rama into the throne of the kingdom. God had other plans. Rama had a wicked and wily stepmother, and on the eve of his coronation, she somehow managed to arrange it so that Rama's own father calls Rama into his room and says, "Rama, you're banished into the forest for 14 years. After that, you may come back and rule the kingdom." With a single twang of his mighty bow, Rama could have silenced both his father and his stepmother, but he was a dutiful son. So he immediately said, unhesitatingly, "Yes, I will go to the forest." And accompanied by his gentle and beautiful wife Sita and his loyal and indomitable brother Lakshmana, Rama went into the forest. Now, this is not an ordinary forest, but it was the deep, dark rainforests of southern India, occupied by great predators and wild beasts, and these were also the forests where the mighty evil hordes of Ravana came out at night. And as Rama and Sita go into the forest, along with Lakshmana, in this forest were also highly refined spiritual men and women of great realization. They had turned away from their backs to the temptations of civilization and had gone into the forest because so great was their longing for God. If God walked into this room, would we know? Maybe not, because there's no fanfare. But these men and women, so still were their minds, so boundless was their wisdom, so selfless was their service. At the moment Rama entered the forest, they knew as a thrill of joy that tugged at their heartstrings and resonated through their bodies that God is amongst us. Then the question became, which of us is he going to visit first? Even among the exalted society of high spiritual achievement, the competition for God's attention was very fierce. There was a yogi in an ashram. He looked about 16 years old, but in reality he was 216 years. And he thought to himself, I have been meditating for 200 years. My mind is so still that surely Rama will come to me first. And there was a rishi. Rishi are these old, very wise people who are very selfless, and they perform fire ceremonies known as yajnas. And this exchange of energy with gods, it is said, keeps prosperity in the kingdom. This rishi was so accomplished, so powerful, that he had performed hundreds of yajnas, and he thought, because of me there is prosperity in the kingdom. There is neither famine nor flood, nor pestilence, nor pandemics. Surely Rama will come to me first. And then there was a jnani who had contemplated God's nature all through his life. And he said, I understand fully the nature of God and the nuances of creation, and I know Purusha and Prakriti and Dharma and Karma. Surely God is going to come to me first. Rama walks in the forest, and as God walks, the muddy forest floor spontaneously blooms with flowers, and it is converted to a bed of flowers. And there are jasmines and roses, hibiscus and hyacinths. Here and there in still, tranquil ponds, exotic varieties of lotuses begin to bloom. The sun reduces his intensity, and the wind blows softly to caress the face of Rama. And as Rama walks through the forest, his love is so great that wild beasts lose their predatory and fierce instincts. A great lion comes and kneels in front of Rama, opens its big mouth and falls on its back to be caressed by the Lord. And over there, a great Bengal tiger begins to play with the deer. And over here, a great cobra opens its hood to give shade to a pregnant frog. As God walks, the Mother Nature sings and dresses up for him, and the hearts of all people dance with joy. Rama's infinite compassion has destroyed the dire mortal fears of all sentient beings.
मन हरण भव भयदारुणम्
श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भजु मन हरण भव भयदारुणम् नव कंजलोचन कंज मुखकर कंज पद कंजारुणम् श्री रामचंद्र कृपालु भजु मन हरण भव भयदारुणम् श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम
कंदर्प गणित
पाटपीतमानहु तडितरुचि शुचि नौमि जनकसुतावरं श्रीरामचन्द्रकृपालु भजुमन हरण भवभयदारुणं श्रीराम 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 श्रीराम
भजुदीन बन्धुदि केशधानव दैत्यवंशनिकण्डनम्
रघुनन्द आनन्द कन्द कोशलचन्द दशरथनन्दनं श्रीरामचन्द्रकृपालु भजुमन हरण भवभयदारुणं श्रीराम 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 श्रीराम
Rama's infinite compassion expanded to encompass all beings and the entire forest. In these ashrams, the yogi and the rishi and the jnani were waiting. Is Rama going to come to me? And Rama walked right past them. They were shocked. Who could be better than us? They thought. And so they got up and walked behind Rama. Rama walked deeper and deeper into the forest. Soon they built up like a caboose behind him, all these people of high spiritual attainment wondering, where is Rama going? Rama goes deeper into a very dark corner of the forest where nobody had been. And in there, suddenly, there is a very small hut. And in that hut is a frail, wizened, bent, stooped old woman. And her name is Sabari. And she's sitting there. Rama is a tall man. He stoops down into the hut to enter. And as he enters the hut, Sabari looks up at him. And outside, the entire mass of yogis and rishis and sadhus are waiting. How is God going to speak to his devotee? There is a hushed silence. Rama and Sabari, God and devotee, look at each other. And with a voice that rings like a temple bell, Rama speaks. And he so says the most unusual thing. He says, Sabari, where is my basket of fruit? I've been waiting my entire life to eat fruit. And I turned my back on the kingdom. I ran through the forest. I ignored great rishis and sadhus. I waited all my life. Don't make me wait any longer. Give me my basket of fruit. And all the sadhus and yogis are scratching their heads. Who is Sabari? What's the deal with the basket of fruit? So let me tell you what the deal is. In her youth, Sabari was a very beautiful woman. And people had lined up to marry her. And her father wanted to get her married off. But her longing for God was so great that she said, I don't want this life. I want to go into the forest because in there is a great guru, a man of self-realization. His name is Matanga. I want to become a disciple of Matanga. So beautiful Sabari goes into the forest, into this deep dark corner. And there Matanga receives her. He has very high standards for whom he is going to accept. But the purity of Sabari's heart is so great that he immediately accepts her as a disciple. And she serves him sincerely for over 50 years. By now, the blush of youth has gone from her face and wrinkles are beginning to show up. And one day, Matanga calls her and says, my child, it is time for me to leave this body. Tears well up in Sabari's face. And she says, my Lord, you're my anchor. Without you, how can I find God? And Matanga looks with eyes filled with great love and says, Sabari, my child, do you not know? Do you not feel it? God has incarnated on earth as Prince Rama. Love him, serve him, seek him, worship him. And he's going to come to this forest and he's going to give you salvation. And so Sabari, from that day on, she's a woman of very simple faith. She's very happy. She goes into her hut and she loves Rama with all her breath, with every waking breath. She seeks and worships him with every waking breath. And she asks, how shall I serve thee, Rama, my Lord, my God, with every breath that I breathe?
How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? The fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. Just as a fire may burn a whole forest, burn to the root my desires. How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I seek thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I serve thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I worship thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe? How shall I love thee, Lord my God, with every breath I breathe?
In her little hut, Sabari was loving, seeking, serving and worshipping Rama with every breath she took. But she had a problem. Because let's double click on her situation. She's waiting for God to come. And when God comes in, you just can't say, hey, I'm so glad you showed up. I waited for you for a long time. I'm glad you could make it. Grant me liberation. It doesn't work that way. An important part of this transaction is you have to give God something. Not just anything. You have to give God the best of what you have. This was her problem. She had nothing. So she says, Rama is going to come. My guru said so, but what should I give him when he comes? And then, she says, I have an idea. I might not have anything, but this entire forest is mine, isn't it? So in these Indian forests, it's true even today, there are these bushes of berries, and they give you berries that are by and large very sour. But every now and then, you will find a good one, and when you do, it is so extraordinarily flavorful. So Sabari decides that that's what I'm going to give my Rama when he comes. So every morning, she carries a little jute basket, she goes into the forest, and she picks up a berry, eats it, oh, sour, she spits it out and throws it down. I does it again, and every 50th or every 100th berry, she takes a little bite, and it's so sweet, so flavorful. So she puts it into her basket. And then it takes her all morning to fill up her basket with half-eaten sweet berries to be offered to Rama when he comes. And she contentedly waits in her hut every afternoon, and she does this again the next morning. This goes on for about 20 years. She's a woman of very simple faith. She's very contented, waiting. And then one day, one afternoon, she's thinking, oh, I hope my Rama comes today because the berries are especially sweet. She has her jute basket and she's sitting in her hut sideways to the door. It's late afternoon and sun is streaming through the open doorway, and there are dust mites dancing in there. You know how when you're facing sideways, you can see what's going on. You can sense what's going on in your side vision. And then she sees the sunlight darken a little bit as if someone is entering. And then she looks up. Rama has just stooped down and entered into her hut, and he has straightened into his full height. And Sabari, for the first time, beholds the form of Rama. Rama is tall, muscular, and well proportioned. There is a great bow slung over his shoulder, which is vibrating with the potential infinite power of the entire universe. He has a broad forehead, and his curly hair is coming down as if dancing on his forehead. His skin is the radiant blue, deep blue color of a monsoon cloud pregnant with water. Beneath his broad forehead are perfectly arched eyebrows, and beneath them are Rama's eyes, which are so beautiful, so enchanting, and so filled with love that one look at them is enough to satisfy all desires, both current and past. And Sabari gazes at her Lord, and Rama gazes back.
जी मेरे नैनन में सिया राम बसो जी मेरे
नैनन में सिया राम बसो जी मेरे नैनन में सिया राम बसो जी मेरे जनक नंदिनी जगदवंदिनी रघुनायक घनश्याम